All right. All right. Are we ready to get started this afternoon? Yes? It's definitely on. Yeah. Can everyone hear me? Excellent. Okay. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Fayetteville Public Library. My name is Rachel Bright, and I am a librarian in our Adult Services Department. And I want to thank you all for coming today and for everyone watching our live stream. I would also like to thank Mr. Gerald Klingeman and Adventure Subaru for their generous support, which makes our Mountain Street Stage concert series possible. Yes. All right, today we are excited to host Aaron Smith with Still on the Hill and Friends. They have a great show in store for you, including songs from Aaron's album, The Legend of Sam Davis. Before I turn things over to them, I would like to draw your attention to the Mountain Street Stage handbills that you found in your seats. We are bringing a variety of musicians in June and July, from blues, pop punk, to bluegrass. So be sure to give that a look, and please consider letting us know what you thought of today's program by filling out a feedback form. Those can be turned in at the back tables, where you will also find CDs and books from our musicians for sale. Now please join me in welcoming our musicians.
Hello.
Woohoo!
Thanks for coming out today. If you start in Harrison, the words to this song will get you all the way to Sam's Throne. We wrote it and then we double checked it to be sure. We don't want to get people lost, you know. The rest of the facts in these songs are questionable at times, but we're not as concerned about that. Not yet?
I'm ready.
Okay. Take 65 south out of Harrison, past Belfont, past Everton, past Valley Springs, all the way to Western Grove, that old bank built out of stones. Hang a right, Highway 123. Then you follow that road, across the Buffalo River, across Big Creek through Hasty, across Davis Creek through Vender. Then you're headed down the mountain to Mount Judy, which you'll find,
ironically, is in a valley.
There's switchbacks for the last part of the climb, through limestone,
Shale and sandstone, oaks giving way to pines.
you can hear the wind go hissing through the needles.
When you reach those heights, watch for the sign, take a right.
That road leads you to the trail, to the Chicken Head Wall.
I've been there so many times, still don't know why that's what it's called.
It will take you half a mile to Sam's Throne.
You will wonder till you get there, but when you get there you will know.
When you get there, you will know.
When you get there
You will know. Thank you. So this album is a labor of love by a lot of people, and we're really pleased to have several of those people here today. And there's many that couldn't be here today, including my bass player George Holcomb, who recorded all the tracks and passed away last year. Dream of Phoenix, who did a lot of the beautiful artwork you see. My mother, who did the maps that you see, couldn't be here. We're really pleased to have Liz Lester here, who did the layout for the book.
Yeah.
And, I'd asked her, she gave me some names of people who could do it, and I checked with them, and I said, checked back with her, I'm like, is this a normal price? And she said, I'll do it. So, and that's how I interpreted the tone in the email. But, you can see, we've got copies of the book in the back, and she did an absolutely beautiful job. I want to introduce the band. This is my daughter, Gray.
Yeah.
Gray and I wrote that last song together in the car on the way to South Carolina, not Sam's Throne. And then Rory, her sweetheart, back here on percussion. Then we have Kelly Mulholland on bass, Donna Mulholland, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say, like, about 12 years ago, I heard Kelly and Donna for the first time in person. And it was a moment where I realized I was surrounded by stories, and that the people around me and the things that were happening around me in the Ozarks were worth noticing and worth putting into art. And it was a wake-up, it was a wake-up moment. And it's really wonderful to get to play this with them. They've become like family for my family. And then, lastly, my sweetheart, Suzanne McGowan, on oboe and clarinet. These next three songs are all the story of the Martin family. And the Martin family started with Henry Martin, who immigrated from France and settled in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia with the Cherokee there. It's amazing to me. Norman R. Martin wrote all this down. He wrote several books about his family history, most of which are not that great. But Up on the Buffalo, if you can find it, it's out of print, but Up on the Buffalo, someone edited this thing. It's a beautiful book. And it's a Genesis story. It's a Genesis of his family. And Norman R. Martin is a wonderful, unreliable narrator, my favorite kind. If you read his other books, you can see that he changes the story all the time, which is great fun. But also you can figure out that his main purpose in writing all this down was to make sure that his children forever remained part of the Church of Christ. And he beats that drum. Anyway, that'll come up a little later. But this first song is a Trail of Tears story, and it begins with Henry Martin settling with the Cherokee in Georgia and ends near Russellville, Arkansas. And it's Henry Martin. Hope you enjoy it. Daddy came over on the boat from France, Port St. Augustine. He hid out north by northwest, Blue Ridge Mountains, Cherokee. Met an Indian girl, was a sister of G. He went looking for a brand new life. What he found, Blue Ridge Mountains, Cherokee. Daddy didn't know where the road would lead. Was hoping something better than he left behind. There ain't no telling what kind of good tomorrow might bring. Seems we're all just walking blind. 7 summers passed, the house started filling up. 3 brand new mouths to feed. Henry Martin got himself a farm and a family. Blue Ridge Mountains, Cherokee. Little did we know where the road would lead. Everything we'd have to leave behind. There ain't no telling what kind of wickedness the next day brings. I never believed the man could be so unkind. Seems we're all just walking blind. Daddy was a white man, no they would have let him stay. They let him keep his house and keep his farm, but they wouldn't let him keep his Cherokee ride. Half-breed daughters and son by his side. No, they'd have to leave with the Blue Ridge Mountain Cherokee. It was 23 years he spent building up this place. Daddy ain't a young man anymore. Is there anywhere left in the whole wide world to say where you can build a life? They won't take it all away. They just come along and take it all away. Daddy didn't know where the road would lead. He's hoping something better than he left behind. There ain't no telling what kind of good tomorrow might bring. Seems we're all just walking blind. Mama, she's walking and crying. Seems we're all just walking blind. So the Martin family made their way on the Trail of Tears all the way to Russellville, Arkansas, and it was beginning to get terrifying for them. And Norman writes that they were stopping so frequently to bury people that the trail was breaking into these contingents based on these burials, and Henry Martin began to fear that the family would not survive. Meanwhile, his daughter Hazel had fallen in love with a federal soldier who was escorting the caravan, and his name was Jack Evans. And Jack Evans, you think of a 20-year-old soldier and what their thoughts of love might be, and he met this beautiful girl, but he made a decision to change his entire life to rescue her and her family. And so he stands out as a hero in the whole narrative. And there's a beautiful picture in the book of Jack and Hazel, and they're just beautiful people. But I like Jack Evans. So here's a song about him. Jack Evans turned up missing. Everybody thought they knew. He's just messing in the woods with that Indian girl. Lots of soldiers have a girl or two. These boys think they're falling in love. Old dogs know it ain't true. There ain't no future in loving a woman like that. She's just there to get you through. She's just there to get you through. These boys just play and love, sell promises with a silver tongue. Stolen kiss, a burning glass, standing issue, cavalry Two horses turned up gone, took it as a clue. This wasn't just a quick trip to the woods. This was something new. This is something new. Now I got nothing against Jack Evans. There are things you just don't do. He knew what we do to horse thieves. He knew we'd shoot him right through. Shoot that woman too. These boys just play and love and sell promises with a silver tongue. Stolen kiss, burning glass, standing issue, cavalry romance. There were 6 we come to find. There were 6 who left that night. That fool took that girl's whole family. They left before the light. Left before the light. He's up north in those hills. Guess he was there a couple years past. A deserter and a half-breed. What kind of life is that? What kind of life you gonna have? This next song is called Curly and Tom, and it follows the Martin family years later, Albert and Debbie Martin, and Albert's Henry Martin's only son. And Debbie stands out as a hero to Norman because she converted the entire family to the Church of Christ, which, as we're all aware, is extraordinarily important. She's also, now the other children of Debbie and Albert don't really show up in this song, but one of them is Norman's father, and so she was his grandmother and a hero to him, which is important. And anyway, I grew up in this tradition that had a lot of equations for what you can expect if you do the right thing. And there wasn't a whole lot of flexibility for something not working out if you did the right thing, you know? And that's the kind of people this song's about. And anyway, happy Mother's Day. Albert Martin found himself a woman, Debbie Boland. just a couple miles away. You could say they hit it off, not just a matter of convenience. No, it was love. Albert said he knew the first time he saw Debbie's face. Now Debbie and Albert went and got married. Took about a year. Circuit preacher done the job. Spent a couple nights camping, a little time alone. And it was love, Albert said he knew the first time he saw Debbie's face. Albert spent his days building a cabin on his daddy's farm. Debbie spent her nights teaching Albert's family how to read. She learned him the Bible, true religion, put away their heathen gods, the French potpourri. That's what she called Henry's Catholicism. It was potpourri. And they were baptized in the creek. Circuit preacher on the job, and it was love. Albert said he knew the first time he saw Debbie's face. Now Debbie and Albert waited till the end of the war. It took them 5 years before they had a child. He came out wily, a full head of curly black hair. They named him Albert Jr., they just called him Curly. And in a year he had a brother named Tom. And Debbie never figured out what went wrong with Curly and Tom. They raised him on the farm, planting and plowing, hoeing and weeding, put a switch to their behinds. Debbie taught him how to read, she learned him the Bible, baptized him in the creek. Circuit preacher didn't mind doing the job, but it never seemed to take for Curly and Tom. Whiskey and women, gambling and cheating, cussing and fighting, skipping out on shores. Grief to their mama, shame to their daddy. Too big for whooping, prayers unanswered. And Debbie never figured out what went wrong with Curly and Tom. And at the general store, cheating at cards, Curly pulled the gun. And he shot Eldridge Walker. And the bullet didn't kill him, so Tom struck him with a blade from a plow. And Eldridge bled to death right there on the floor. And Debbie and Albert, they left with the boys in the middle of the night. They fled to Colorado. Them boys never changed, never worked an honest day. And Debbie always wondered, sometimes she blamed herself, but she never figured out what went wrong with Curly and Tom. Debbie and Albert are buried in a cemetery in Oklahoma, and I don't remember, it's not close to anything, but we went and found it. Dreama, who did these beautiful pictures, and I went and found it. And right next to their graves, there's 2 empty spots with pavers, and it's got to be where those boys wound up. So somewhere in this pocket. There was supposed to be the right pick for this exact situation.
Remember who had it in her pocket last time you lost?
Oh, I didn't really hear what you said, sir, but I appreciate your participation.
Happy Mom Day, everyone.
Yeah.
This next song, when I was putting together the songs for the legend of Sam Davis, I just started asking people what they knew about Sam Davis. And I just wanted to hear what they'd heard, you know? And I was just keeping the bits that I liked, and which is how history's made, you know? But this fella, Jerry Claiborne, I asked him, do you know, I saw he lived near Mount Judy. And I said, Jerry, do you know anything about Sam Davis? Do you know anything about that story? He said, no, but I got a story for you. And he told me this story, about Ab Claiborne. And it's another dark one. And it's interesting to me, you know, something horrible happens to a family. You never know how they're going to take that story being told. But the Claiborne family is really proud to have this story told and has held this girl in this story, Laura Claiborne, really close to their hearts, and has found it meaningful that this story's in this song. So go figure, huh? So here's the Ballad of Ab Claiborne. Is this coming through there? Ab Claiborne rode to Kiefer's cabin. 7 miles he whipped his mule. And when he reached the cabin yard, Ab his pistol drew. He said, H.J. Kiefer, I've come to pay you all your due. For my daughter Laura fair is slain, and I know that it was you. Let them bones burn. Keep on burning. Ab shot out the cabin windows, shots 1 and 2. And all he heard was silence and the wind blowing through. Ab felt no satisfaction that his shots had found their mark. So Ab called out again as the skies around grew dark. H.J. Kiefer, come and face me. Come die like a man. For my daughter Laura fair was murdered by your wicked hand. Again there came no answer, so Ab called out once more. Then shots 3 and 4 shattered H.J. Kiefer's door. Let them bones burn. Keep on burning. Ab Claiborne stood at the threshold. His heart was racing fast. And on the cabin floor he saw the body of the man. H.J. Kiefer lay unmoving. So Ab called out again. Kiefer, are you dead? He heard no answer but the wind. Ab Claiborne raised his gun again with a trembling hand. Sent shots 5 and 6 to the body of the man. Let them bones burn and keep on burning. H.J. Kiefer lay sprawled on the floor, broken bottle in his grip. From the shelves of Claiborne's general store was deadly arsenic. Ab loaded up his gun and emptied it again. Let them bones burn. Keep on burning. Still Ab felt no satisfaction, and his rage did not abate. So he set fire to the body in the fury of his hate. And the people of Limestone Valley, deer and burden, gathered round to watch the corpse of ancient keeper burning on the ground. Let them bones burn. Keep on burning. That's a story we were given, and that's a story we believe. Some might call to question details. I never saw the need. Ab Claiborne never killed a man, though we got to watch him bleed. Let them bones burn. Keep on burning. I think a lot about stories, about the value of stories and the purpose of stories. And a big part of the reason that I think about that is that I've realized that facts never change anybody's mind about anything. Not really. What really changes is our story, you know? And so it kind of made me interested in telling stories. It made me interested in how stories had changed my mind and changed me. That last story, there's a newspaper article about it, and it's in the book. We included it in its entirety in the book. And it's not alone. There's other newspaper articles about that story. And they all mention that most people don't really believe that that's what happened. And it certainly isn't. And I've been sworn to secrecy about what did happen. But I occasionally tell people who ask me. But not from the stage. The Claibornes are a scary bunch of people. So they make incredible moonshine. It tastes dangerous, as you would hope that it would. And this story is another story that it's a mysterious story. It's kind of a fairy tale. And Bud Phillips wrote a couple books, Buffalo Boogers and Buffalo Tales. And I think this is from Buffalo Tales. I finally got a copy of it. And I wouldn't hunt it down. It's not very good. But this story is really good. It's called The Snow Child. And anyway, it's a bit of a fairy tale. But the way that Bud Phillips heard it was he was at a diner in Oklahoma called the Snow Child Diner, and the waitress was the daughter of the little boy in this song. And this is the story of how he was told he came to be in his family of origin, or his second family of origin. So, the Snow Child. I want to check and make sure I'm in the right tuning before. Yeah, I think I am. Frank Flood came home in the autumn, came home from the horrors of the war, to a widowed mother and a farm in disrepair, and he bent his back to labor and sought his fortune there. On those fields his father had cleared in the shadow of Mount Hersey. By the time the winter came, he had a wife. Before it came again, he had a son. And that house filled up with laughter, and those paper-thin cries, while the fields filled with produce, and the pastures filled with life. All the memories of the war began to fade in the shadow of Mount Hersey. But the child grew ill, and in 2 years died. They laid him to rest on the mountainside. A little coffin by his grandfather's grave in the shadow of Mount Hersey. So again, Frank bent his back to labor, and he built and he tilled and he plowed. He found a measure of peace just in working with his hands, and it kept his mind off things when he was minding to his land. On that farm his father had sat in the shadow of Mount Hersey. And when the winter came again, he was laying up wood by the family plot where 2 stones stood. And when he went home for dinner, he left behind his axe, and the snow began to fall. By the time that Frank turned back, old Bounce was baying at the darkness in the shadow of Mount Hersey. And by the axe a boy stood trembling in the cold, and he bore a strong resemblance. He was only 2 years old. And Frank searched the lands around him, but he never found a soul who could tell him how the child had come to be in the shadow of Mount Hersey. So Frank took the child into his home, and he brought the family comfort, and they claimed him as their own. He was the only snow child ever found in the shadow of Mount Hersey. That last line, he was the only snow child ever found in the shadow of Mount Hersey. It's a bit of a clue. And when I always look for as many versions of a story as I could find. I never could find another one about this snow child. I never could find anything in the land records in Newton County about the Flood family. Mount Hersey's still there, and it's pronounced Hersey, not Hershey. So if you want to pass like you're from Newton County, that's a little clue for you. I'm from Boone County myself, but I know how to say Hersey. But as I was looking for versions of that story, I found a Scandinavian folk tale that was very similar and a bit of a clue. So this is another, well, I should say, there's a point where I was putting these songs together. I was visiting with Donna Dodson at the Newton County Historical Society, and I said, Donna, so far I've written all these songs and all the women are being abducted or rescued. And she's like, Aaron, that's a problem. I'm like, I know. I know. And I said, can you tell me any heroic women in any stories of heroic women in Newton County? And she smiled and told me this story and gave me a few versions of Granny Briscoe stories. And there's There's at least one story about Granny Briscoe shooting someone who was trying to steal her peaches. It's in the book that doesn't make it into this song. It's not in the character of it, but it's a pretty cool story. But Granny Briscoe was a midwife and delivered over 1,000 children in the area surrounding Newton County. And her descendants are so proud of her. This fella, anyway, if you want to see a cowboy get choked up, and that's his grandma, just bring her up. And it's pretty beautiful how her family remembers her. And yeah, she left quite a heritage. She's buried near Jasper. And yeah, there's a map in the book where you can find all these places. And in fact, her cabin, the logs were taken and used to build a chapel at Dogpatch USA. And we're trying to find out if they're going to tear that down or not. But it's kind of neat to know that. So here's the story of Granny Briscoe. And we're going to take a break after this. We'd love to visit with you. And then we're going to come back and sing you the legend of Sam Davis, the 6 songs about the raving preacher in Newton County, Sam Davis. But first, here's Granny Briscoe. When Granny Briscoe couldn't walk no more, they took a rocking chair with a man on each arm, carried her out to the yard. There were rows of picnic tables out there set up in the shade. People came from distant towns for Granny Briscoe's 88th birthday. When she was young, they called her Lizzie. She had 6 children of her own. But it wasn't just her mother in. Granny Briscoe would be known. No, Lizzie was a midwife, and she'd ride across these lands at the bedside of a mother soon to be. She'd lend a steady hand. She was a sight for weary, frightened eyes through the hollers and the hills. See her coming day and night, riding hard against the clock. For the sake of mother and child, she was the kind of help you long to see. Kind of brave you'd want to be. Sometimes the calls came at midnight, the crack of dawn, or dinner time. Didn't matter when those calls came in. Lizzie feared no dark of night. They would call her past the river or to the mountains other side. She'd climb a ladder through a stony cleft, passing through the needle's eye. Lizzie Briscoe knew the way through the darkness to the light. 1,000 souls were born with Lizzie Briscoe as their guide. Oh, she was a sight for weary, frightened eyes through the hollers and the hills. See her coming day and night, riding hard against the clock. For the sake of mother and child, she was the kind of help you'd long to see. Kind of brave you'd want to be. Granny rode into her 80s through Newton County and far beyond. When she was thrown from her horse, she knew her riding days were done. When Granny Briscoe couldn't walk no more, they took her rocking chair with a man on each arm, carried in the shade. People came from distant towns for Granny Briscoe's 88th birthday. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to take 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to take 5 or 10 minutes, drink a little water, and then we'll come back and we're going to do the Legend of Sam Davis for you.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Yeah, you sound great. You're awesome too. I want to sing like you someday when I grow up.
Thanks for sticking around. I thought I'd say a couple words before we start on the legend of Sam Davis about the guitar that I play and the banjo that I play. I always forget to talk about these, but they're so special to me. And a few weeks ago, Donna and Kelly and I got to go to a birthday party for the man who made this guitar, and it was his 100th birthday. Yeah, and his name is Elliott Smith, and some of you may know that name. It's a different guy. That other one did not live to be 100, unfortunately, but this guy did. He's a World War II veteran, and I bought a banjo from him maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago, something like that. And he told me he had this guitar he was building, and he said, now this one's going to be raffled off by the American Legion at the Elk Festival in Jasper. And so I bought $50 worth of raffle tickets that day. And I couldn't believe when I won that raffle. He called me up, and I was like, really? And I got the guitar, and it just sat in my office for the longest time, and it just felt like the strangest thing. This just stuff like that doesn't happen, you know. But yeah. So on the neck here, if you're wondering what it says the American Legion, Post 93. Which I've never been to one of their Legion Hall meetings or their Legion Hall, but maybe someday I go play my song. There's an eagle on the back, and that was cut out of a magazine and glued onto the Brazilian rosewood. An American flag on the back of the headstock here, also cut out of a magazine, and the headstock here says Arkansas. Oh. And so pretty special. Heavy. It doesn't seem like it should sound as good as it does, but it really sounds good. The banjo, he was showing me all that. He likes to tell you how hard it was to make these, and he was showing me all the details on the banjo, and he'd done all this really fine inlay work, and it was all made out of bones he got at a Boone County slaughterhouse, and so he showed me that. He flips it over, and he shows me on the back. He says, "Oh, there's a Jasper elk on the back, or Newton County elk on the back of the banjo." And I look at it, and I said, it just slipped out of my mouth. I said, "That's a moose." And I'd just been to Alaska and had been close to some moose. And he said, "It's a goddamn Newton County elk." And I said, "Oh, I see it. It is." But you're welcome to come look at it, and you can decide what you think it looks like. Anyway. I started taking my kids on hikes, and we went up Round Top. My son was terrified to go on a hike at Round Top Mountain south of Jasper because of the possibility of bear attacks. And I reasoned with him, and I looked up statistics, and I eventually gave up on logic. And I said, "Quentin, did you know that hats render you completely invisible to bears?" And so we've got pictures of our hike at Round Top Mountain wearing hats. And anytime I took my hat off, my son was terrified that we'd be attacked by bears. And a little after that, we went to Sam's Throne, which I didn't know anything about. And later on, I was talking to somebody who I realized lived near there, and he asked me if I knew the story of that place. And Vernon Sexton told me the first version of this story that I'd ever heard. And I've heard many versions since, including the most likely historical version, which I do not recommend. It's no fun at all. So, but yeah, here's the version I like. And it starts with Sam being born around 1790 in Kentucky. And he grew up the love of his parents until he was 16 years old when his father passed away. And he shouldered his father's duties, took over the farm work, and did that with devotion until tragedy struck a second time. And this is that story that follows. Sam Davis lost his sister to a band of Shawnee Indians. She was taken in her youth and in the flower of her innocence. So Sam packed up his saddlebags, loaded up his gun, and told his worried mother, I've got to find her. And Mama, don't you waste your tears on me. I am in the mighty arms of one who sets the captives free. And he will guide my steps, he'll keep my feet from stumbling. Oh, Mama, you will see, before you know it, I'll be home, my sister by my side. The light of your eyes will be back in your arms. Mama, don't you cry. Just like David with the lion and the bear, well, these Philistines will fall just like anyone who dares stand before the Lord and harm those for whom he cares. Mama, you will see, before you know it, I'll be home, my sister by my side. The light of your eyes will be back in your arms. Mama, don't you cry. He trains my hands for battle and my fingers to fight. He is my strength and my shield and my fortress on high, in whom I trust. Mama, don't you cry. We'll be home before you know. And when the daylight wanes, don't you let your thoughts grow dark. Just say a prayer that I'll be strong and I won't have to journey far. And the eye that's on the sparrow, it will also watch for me. Oh, Mama, you will see. Mama, you will see, before you know it, I'll be home, my sister by my side. The light of your eyes will be back in your arms. Mama, don't you cry. Sam Davis journeyed westward. He was following the trail of bent twigs and hoof prints and smoldering campfires. He was always just a day behind. He journeyed through the dark and light, but he never caught a glimpse. Just bent twigs and hoof prints. And Sam went westward in faith. He knew he'd see the day that Martha would return home safe. Had no idea where he was going, but he never lost his way. He journeyed on beyond the feet of Lone Mountain, to the mine of the vast Kentucky Lake, beyond the hills where he grew up, to the endless rolling plains. And he was always just a day behind. Journeyed through the dark and light, but he never caught a glimpse. Just bent twigs and hoof prints, bent twigs and hoof prints. And Sam went westward in faith. He knew he'd see the day Martha would return home safe. Had no idea where he was going, but he never lost his way. Journeyed on to Fort San Fernando and the mighty Mississippi. Oh, the river was too wide to cross, and Sam was growing weary. So he prayed to the Lord to guide his steps and be his light. He found a boat and paid the fare and made a fire on the banks to spend the night. But when the morning broke and Sam awoke, there was no trail to find. Tears filled his eyes until he saw a bent twig, a hoof print, a bent twig, a hoof print, a bent twig, a hoof print. And Sam went westward in faith. He knew he'd see the day Martha would return home safe. Had no idea where he was going, but he never lost his way. He journeyed on from the plains again to hills, wooded, dark, and steep. Oh, the land was hard to cross, and that trail was hard to keep. And still bent twigs and hoof prints were guiding his way as the days were growing shorter, as the leaves began to change. Then came the day that on the banks of Cave Creek, Sam lost the trail. And over every inch and every mile, he tried and tried. He failed to find a bent twig, a hoof print. Sam wintered in the cave. He nearly froze and nearly starved. He prayed 1,000 prayers, but the heavens seemed as hard as walls of stone in which he slept. And young Sam began to rage against the settlers in the hills around. The settlers swore they'd seen no Indians, no bent twigs, no hoof prints.
Check your guitar signal.
Coming through? Wasn't? Oh my. Well, let's go back. We'll do those again. I wouldn't have tried so hard. So Sam's faith had taken him through the wilds of Kentucky and Tennessee and part of Arkansas, and it landed him alone, shivering in a cave hundreds of miles from home. It was something that he didn't anticipate, and he honestly didn't know how to deal with. Daughter of my people was taken from her home. And her mother in her grief and age was wintering alone. I lift my eyes to the hills where my help comes from. No help comes. And the letter in the post was marked a month ago. And it said that mother's heart had failed her, waiting for children to come home. Oh, mama, you will see, I said, oh, mama, we'll be home before you know. Home before you know. Made promises I could not keep. Maybe I was foolish, maybe I was just weak. Still no one in this place can look me in the eyes, it seems. No one in this place can tell me why no one's seen even a trace. They just look scared and look away. And still the Lord is in his temple. He's watching over all the world. And his will, it needs no questioning from wandering boys and stolen girls. So we pray to understand as the story unfurls as best we can, just to understand. Like a whisper in the dark. And he speaks his words of strength and comfort to my weary heart. Then he takes me to a lonely mountain high above the valley and fills me with a voice that thunders, Spirit speaking. And I'm changed by the words I hear my mouth begin to utter. And I prophesy of judgment coming, prophesy of horror to the people of this place who took no pity on my sister. So after that night, Sam was no longer a boy shivering in a cave. He was the booming prophet of Big Creek. And the legend goes that you could hear Sam's voice from the bluff all the way through the cabin walls in Mount Judy. It wasn't long before the charm of that wore off. We've all got somebody like that in our family, don't we? Yeah. Look at there, Sam.
fall down fire from heaven?
On the God-fearing church going people of the valley, baptized in the buffalo and bound for glory. Part. Yeah, let's go back.
Okay.
I don't know what to do next. There, Sam's a praying.
He sounds just like an old Missouri mule.
Well, I think he's got a touch of something.
Some makes a man carry on like a fool.
He's saying there's no pity to be found in these hills.
Wonder no one shot him down.
Somebody will.
Now who would do that?
One of them God-fearing church going people of the valley, baptized in the buffalo and bound for glory. Like how you start a war, Sam.
Do you like killing Indians back where you come from?
You excuse me, Sam, for some reason I can't recall. Haven't seen any Indians around these parts at all.
Me neither, Sam. Not a one.
Just God-fearing church going people of the valley, baptized in the buffalo and bound for glory. Takes a lot less than that to knock a banjo out of tune. The whole thing is just a bad idea. So, thanks for your patience there while I got kitted up for this one. So bears mentioning that no one ever did shoot Sam Davis while he was preaching on that bluff. And during his years of preaching, during his years there, Sam built a farm. He married a woman. He raised a kid. He got wealthy. And he never stopped climbing that bluff southeast of Mount Judy to preach. But he did make some peace with his story and with his journey. And as the years passed, he became renowned as a hunter. And it was on one of his hunts that Sam heard a voice calling for a lost cow in the woods. This is that story. waiting on what comes my way. I'm waiting on what fills my plate. I always get something that I need when I come to these woods. Sometimes all I need is just the quiet.
Suck, suck.
There ain't no way to rush the forest. There ain't no way around the way. Oh, she gives you what she gives you. Call it gift or call it fate. But I always get something that I need when I come to these woods. Sometimes all I need is just quiet.
Suck, 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 suck.
And down there in the leaf bed, there's some fiddlehead ferns. They're twisting up their tiny necks. They don't know how they got here. They don't know why they were born. They just grow here where they woke here in the quiet.
Suck, 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 suck.
Suck, suck.
There's a woman down there making a racket, calling after cows. I can't see how I'm going home with any dinner now. I might as well say howdy. She can tell the folks at home that she met old Raven Sam, that he come down off his throne. Sook, sook, came the voice. Sook, sook, I know that voice. I never thought I'd see your face alive again. Did you know that I've been searching for you since the first day you were gone? I never thought I'd see the day. And there you are, well and safe, Martha.
Yay, Aaron! Yay!
It's coming through now. Hear the guitar again? We hope. Ellis, is the guitar coming through again?
I can hear it from there. I can't tell if I hear it.
Okay.
Tell us.
Okay. We're just going to have a little faith. So, we don't know what words were exchanged between Martha and Sam when they met in the woods that day. But what we do know is that Martha actually didn't live far away, that she was married to a Native American man and had several children by him. And she continued in that life, and Sam continued in his life. And he was known for preaching from the bluff. and he was known also for some outrageous claims. He claimed that he would live for 1,000 years, and he claimed that he had buried gold atop Sam's throne, and then he disappeared, and left us with these stories. And if you visit Mount Judy, the Davis family cemetery includes some descendants of his, includes his wife, but no grave for Sam. When the word came to me, in my grief and deepest need, I said what I saw was plainly true. And if in anger or in haste my youthful words were wasted, I'd be glad, 'cause I fear they all are true. And I'd heed those words if I were you. 1,000 years, 1,000 years. I lost my sister and my mind, both were given back in time. Oh, the Lord, you know He gives, takes away. And He brought me on this path and broke me for this task, and restored my soul to see at the end of my days. 1,000 years, 1,000 years, my story will be told, and my tale it will be born beyond these lands, and my voice it will resound through these hills and mountain towns for 1,000 and beyond 1,000 years. There's gold on this hill, and I put it here myself. It's easy to find, oh, it's plain as day. So if you come here to see, take all that you need, because there's more to be found than you could ever haul away. 1,000 years, 1,000 years, my story will be told, and my tale it will be born beyond these lands, and my voice it will resound through these hills, mountain towns for 1,000 and beyond 1,000 years. 1,000 years, 1,000 years, my story will be told, and my tale it will be born beyond these lands, and my voice it will resound through these hills, mountain towns for 1,000 and beyond 1,000 years. For 1,000 and beyond 1,000 years.
Aaron Smith! Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Here's an Arkansas song for you. wrote this for Scott and Karen Fancher. When I heard your voice, heard the grass growing, hay baling, the cattle lowing, heard the draw of a cigarette, felt the wonder and regret, just like the scratch you whiskered up from a grandpa that you love, who smells like whiskey and everything that took too long to learn to love. About where I come from, I'm ashamed to say, when I went away I was not proud to be from Arkansas. I see more clearly now that I was completely wrong. When I heard your voice, like a gospel meeting, like Granny in a rocking chair, like a mother mourning, like a tired hope that you keep repeating, like sitting by the fire when the baby's sleeping, like everything that took too long to learn to love. About where I come from, I'm ashamed to say, when I went away I was not proud to be from Arkansas. I see more clearly now that I was completely wrong. Got a bottle of beer, and I got an itch to hear hello in there again. It's like a sacrament. Mikey's holding down the lows, just like he did when he was just a kid. It's like a sacrament. It's like a sacrament, 'cause it's a sacrament. Just like everything, it took too long to learn to love. About where I come from, place I call my home, on the banks of the Buffalo, back in those hills, Ozarks of Arkansas. See more clearly now that I was completely wrong. I see more clearly now that I was completely wrong. Guys, thanks so much for coming out. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. My daughter Gray, Suzanne McGowan, Kelly and Donna Mulholland, and Rory Rocco. Thanks so much, guys. Love to visit with you. I'll be standing at the back. And thanks again.